What do this World War I dogfight and this tennis tournament have in common? You will find out in this video. When the First World War broke out in 1914, airplanes were still a brand new invention. The Wright brothers had flown only a decade earlier. These fragile machines of wood and canvas were never designed for combat. At first, they were scouts, flying over the trenches, taking notes, and reporting enemy troop movements. The soldiers on the ground were more curious than afraid. Many of them had never even seen an airplane before, just a strange, buzzing shape high above the trenches. But it didn't take long to realize the danger. If that enemy pilot could see them, he could see everything. Their positions, their movements, their plans. That harmless scout became a target. The very first air battles were almost comical. Pilots waved their fists at one another, threw bricks, even lobbed grenades over the side of the cockpit. Soon, they strapped pistols and rifles into their laps, firing wildly across the sky. These duels were clumsy, ineffective, and dangerous, but they marked the birth of aerial combat. Chapter 1: The Problem. It didn't take long for pilots to demand real firepower. The obvious solution was to mount a machine gun on the airplane. But there was a problem. Where do you put it? If you mounted it on the wings, it became hard to aim. Plus, the wings of those early planes were too fragile and unstable to handle the recoil or weight of a machine gun. The most logical place was straight ahead, in front of the pilot, so the entire airplane could act as the gun's sight. But there, right in the way, was the spinning propeller. Firing through it meant shooting your own plane to pieces. This challenge became one of the most important engineering problems of the First World War. The first breakthrough came from a French pilot named Roland Garros in 1915. Garros had a bold, almost reckless solution. He armored the back of his wooden propeller blades with small steel wedges. If a bullet hit the propeller, the metal would deflect it away. It wasn't perfect. The propeller still suffered damage, and ricochets were dangerous for the pilot himself. But it worked well enough to give Garros a short-lived advantage. He managed to shoot down several German aircraft with his modified machine gun. To honor Garros, the French named a Paris stadium after him. Today, it's home to the world-famous Roland Garros tennis tournament. In April 1915, his luck ran out. Garros was forced to land behind enemy lines. He managed to set his aircraft on fire, but the propeller and gun were captured almost intact. The Germans now had a close look at his strange invention. They couldn't believe their eyes. Chapter 2: Fokker's Breakthrough. The captured machine was handed over to a Dutch engineer working for Germany, Anthony Fokker. Yep, that's how you pronounce it. Fokker immediately recognized the flaws in Garros' system. Deflecting bullets was primitive, inefficient, and dangerous. Surely there was a better way. Within days, Fokker developed what would become one of the most revolutionary inventions in aviation: the synchronization gear, also known as the interrupter gear. Instead of letting bullets strike the propeller, the system linked the firing of the machine gun directly to the engine's crankshaft. The gun could only fire in the split second when no propeller blade was in front of it. As you can see here, a cam on the propeller keeps each burst perfectly in sync with the blades. The result? A perfect line of fire. For the first time, the airplane itself became a true weapon. By the summer of 1915, German fighters equipped with Fokker's synchronized machine guns ruled the skies. Allied pilots, flying clumsy and poorly armed aircraft, were outmatched and cut down. In what became known as the Fokker Scourge, between 400 and 500 Allied planes were shot down, giving Germany brief but undeniable control of the air. But the Allies were quick to learn. When a Fokker fighter crash-landed behind their lines, British engineers took it apart, piece by piece. Inside, they found the secret mechanism that had haunted them for months. Soon, the British had their own synchronized guns, mounted on new aircraft like the Sopwith Pup and the French Nieuport 17. By 1916, the balance in the skies had shifted once again. The Fokker Scourge was over, but it changed the rules of war. Fokker's invention forged the modern fighter plane and made air superiority a decisive advantage. From that moment, Battles were no longer fought only on the ground. Chapter 3. The Second World War. The principle of synchronized guns carried on through the 1920s and 1930s, but by the time the Second World War erupted in 1939, aircraft design had changed dramatically. Engines were more powerful, and wings were large and strong enough to hold multiple weapons. Mounting guns in the wings offered huge advantages: more firepower, more ammunition, and the ability to fit heavy cannons that could shred bombers in a single burst. Famous fighters like the Spitfire and the P-51 Mustang carried 6, 8, or even more guns in their wings. Still, some planes kept synchronized nose guns. The German main fighter plane, the Messerschmitt Bf 109, carried machine guns above the engine, firing through the propeller arc, and often a cannon firing through the propeller hub. But the golden age of synchronization was fading. By the end of the war, with jet engines replacing propellers, the interrupter gear became obsolete. Chapter 4. The Legacy. The invention of the synchronization gear changed warfare forever. It turned airplanes from fragile scouts into hunters, gave rise to the fighter ace and the dogfight, and introduced the concept of air superiority, ideas that still dominate military strategy today. From Garrow's crude deflector plates to Fokker's elegant gear, these innovations reshaped the skies, decided battles, and laid the foundation for the modern Air Force. When we think of the duels of Spitfires and Messerschmitts over Europe, or the supersonic jets of today, we are reminded that it all began with one simple, brilliant idea: finding a way to shoot through the propeller. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more war stories.